Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you starting it here with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Plenty to cover over our final hour, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. We'll start with football. Director of Scouting and Rankings for Rivals, Charles Powell. Power is with us. He was there at the Elite 11 camp over the weekend. Going to talk a little Peyton Houston. Charles, appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just had a long flight back to Nashville from a fun weekend out in L.A., but doing good, and it was great to see all those top quarterbacks out there.
Yeah, before we get into our discussion about players individually, just kind of set the scene for us for the Elite 11. How many players are there? Kind of what's the setup? What's the agenda like?
Yeah, so they bring in 20 of the top quarterbacks in the country. They invite the finalists at one of the 8 regionals they have throughout the spring, just at different locations, kind of all over the United States. So to get invited to the Elite 11 finals, you'll participate in a regional. They whittle that down to 20 and invite the top 20. And I believe they're taking 12 to the opening finals later in June out in Portland at Nike's campus. So that's kind of how they do it. And then 3 days. The first day is mainly drill work. They're split up into groups, going through drill stations, throwing on air. The second day is a 20-play pro day script. So each quarterback goes one by one, and they run through the pro day script, kind of similar like you would see from an NFL-style pro day, throw into receivers with no defensive backs, kind of routes on air. And then the third day, each quarterback has a 15-minute timed 7-on-7 period. So it's really as many throws and drives as you can get in that 15-minute period. So that's kind of how they do it. It's kind of split up into 3 days. It's really been the same format for probably maybe the past, 5 to 10 years.
So Peyton Houston obviously is the headliner here in Baton Rouge. This was an interesting quarterback class for LSU fans as of 20 months ago, because you had Colton Nussmeier in Dallas that has an obvious tie with Garrett, Peyton Houston and Elijah Haven here in the state of Louisiana. Peyton Houston is the one that is committed to LSU. I know that you were impressed with him, and it sounds like a lot of folks were. Tell us about what you saw.
Yeah, Peyton Houston had a really strong showing. I think he finished. We rank him top 1 through 11, kind of at the end of the weekend, and he was 4th for us. I think he was arguably the most accurate quarterback there. Was outstanding. The last 2 days, his pro day, one of the better pro days there. Just very accurate, on time, and just kind of refined technically. And then he was very good in the 7-on-7 as well. Did a nice job kind of making quick decisions, stayed ahead of the sticks. I believe he completed his first 18 passes in a row. So just kind of a guy who is very highly polished. He's refined. He's one that we've known about for a long time. I mean, I think Peyton Houston was getting offers maybe in very early high school, if not middle school. But he's been on the scene for a while, and you can see that level of polish and just technical acuity in this setting. And I kind of came in expecting him to do well. This is a setting that I think is really ideally suited for his skill set. So not super surprised that he did well in the Elite 11, but certainly, I think if you're an LSU fan, it's a positive to take away heading into the fall, which generally I think the longer I've done this, the play as a senior tends to be the best indicator. But he certainly looked very good out there, and not really surprised, but I think it's a positive to take away for an LSU fan.
Rivals has him listed at 5'10", 202. We know he's always been on the shorter side for a quarterback as he's developing. What did you think of his size compared to his peers out there?
Yeah, I mean, he probably, I think, was the shortest, if not the second shortest there. I think he's been around the same size really for probably a year or so. He's continued to fill out. I think he's probably 5'10" to 5'10.5". The hands are sub 9 inches, so the frame is a little limited. There's no doubt about that. But I think Peyton Houston has found a way to really optimize his physical tools. I think he's continued to add good athleticism. You can see that kind of on Friday nights at Evangel. He can move around. He can make plays with his legs. He's a rushing threat. So certainly, I think for a smaller quarterback, you want to have that club in your bag. But I think he's done a good job just kind of being buttoned up mechanically to kind of get the most out of what he has. But there's no question. I mean, I think relative to some of the other guys, there are some physical limitations, but I don't think that has really slowed him down from being, a really good high school player. I think he projects as a good college player as well.
How about the arm strength?
So I think he's best probably in the short to intermediate area. I think he's got capable downfield arm strength. I think within this group, the downfield arm is not going to blow you away relative to some of these others. We have guys out there that can take the top off of the defense with their arm, just really, really like major horsepower in their arm. So that's not, I don't think it's a slight for Peyton Houston, but I think when you're comparing him within the group, the downfield arm is probably not his strong suit, but he can generate considerable zip, in the short to intermediate areas, and he can drive the football. I think when his base, he's really at his best when his base is set. When everything is aligned and his base is set, he can put good velocity on it.
Charles Power is our guest. He covers recruiting for Rivals with talent evaluation, as well as out at Elite 11. We're talking a little bit of pace in Houston here. Obviously, you've watched Lane Kiffin's offenses over the years. A lot of different quarterbacks have had success in that system. So when you look at Peyton Houston, you watch him play, and then you think about what you see from Lane Kiffin's teams on Saturdays. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good fit. You look at what Lane Kiffin did with Trinidad Chambliss last year. I think there are some similarities just with the play style. I mean, Chambliss is maybe slightly taller than Peyton Houston, but I think just in terms of what they can do, I think there's certainly some similarities there. And Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss do a really good job of I think they know how to mold their offense and tweak their offense to the quarterback. And I think you can go back to Lane Kiffin's time at Alabama when he had a guy like Blake Sims. In Peyton Houston is probably similar stature, but I think certainly more polished as a passer at the same stage. So I think they can do a good job of building an offense around the quarterback. And I think Peyton Houston has a lot of positives when you talk about his decision making, his experience, his accuracy. He's a guy who I think is going to excel as just a distributor, getting the ball out, but he can also, make things happen when plays break down with his improvisational skills and mobility. So I think it's a strong fit. And I think when you look at what LSU's done at quarterback, you think about when Lane Kiffin came in, adding Sam Levitt is a huge get out of the portal. Hassan Longstreet, I think, is one of the more underrated portal gets. He was a guy that I saw at this event 2 years ago. I mean, absolute just bazooka for an arm. So I think when you bring in Peyton Houston behind those guys, I think they're continuing to build out that quarterback room, and I think that's the name of the game in college football. You want to have options at quarterback. You want to have depth at quarterback, especially if a guy goes down. You're playing in the SEC. You have a tough schedule, so it's really good to have that quality depth at quarterback. And I think Peyton Houston is a really just a really nice add for LSU. Certainly, I mean, you're keeping him in state, and I think it's a good fit. And I think I think if Peyton Houston down the line ends up winning the starting job at LSU, I think he's going to be a very productive quarterback for the Tigers.
Let me drill down on Hassan Longstreet one more time. You mentioned that you saw him. What were your other impressions, if you remember, other than the arm strength, which was obvious to us when we went out there and saw him in the spring?
Yeah. I mean, I always start with arm strength with Hassan. I think, I think he's not necessarily like the tallest or biggest quarterback either, but he is, a guy who is, like very physically developed, like muscular, and a quality athlete. And he was, I remember when we saw him at the Elite 11, he was a little banged up. I think maybe had a pretty bad sprained ankle, and kind of fought through it, toughed it out, and performed really well for several days. I think he was like a top 3 guy for us that year, and it was a deep class that year for sure. So I think there's a lot of positives to take away from him. And when you watch him, whenever we watched him on Friday night in high school, he made some big time throws over the middle of the field that you could kind of see translating in college football. And I think when going back in that cycle, there's a bunch of really talented quarterbacks, and I think he certainly had maybe one of, if not the strongest arm that year coming out.
Last question here, Charles, and we appreciate your time here on this Monday, a travel day for you. Obviously, here in Baton Rouge, Elijah Haven is someone that a lot of our listeners are very, very familiar with. Is committed to Alabama. What did you see from him out at Elite 11?
Yeah, I mean, Elijah Haven, I thought was probably the most physically developed of these quarterbacks. I think he was the most college ready in terms of the build. He looks all of 6'4" plus. I would say he's 225, 230, easy. Really like filled out lower half. So you could have. They had college counselors out there. They had Jerron Chiave Sagapulatelli from Cal, Byron Brown from Auburn. Elijah Haven physically looks like those guys. Now, I think I think there's certainly areas for him to continue improving just with his mechanics. This is a guy who plays basketball a bunch. He's not like a year-round trained quarterback, like working with quarterback trainers 365. So I think there's some areas for him to continue fine-tuning, a bunch of upside. But, I think moving forward, you just want to see him continue to like work on the consistency. But I would kind of classify him as like a high-end developmental talent that has, probably some areas to continue improving just in terms of the passing polish.
He's the director of scouting and rankings over at Rivals, Charles Powell, who are talking about a little bit of Elite 11. You can follow him on Twitter at Charles Power. Appreciate your time, sir.
Sure, sounds good. Thanks.
That's Charles Power from Rivals talking a little Peyton Houston. There are a lot of people that are really excited about Peyton Houston, and I think there's a lot of reason for that. I think that his time as LSU starting quarterback is probably a little bit of ways away. And I guess in a foregone era, you would go, well, you got a Sam Leavitt for 1 or 2 years, and then you've got Husan Longstreet right there waiting, and then Peyton Houston can be your quarterback in like 3 or 4 years from now. We know that now it almost never works like that. Maybe it does at Clemson. They kind of develop guys, but everybody else jumps into the portal. And so that's something you always got to keep in mind. But you want to keep that pipeline healthy. And I think Peyton Houston is a guy that a lot of folks are excited about. The standard that you have to be 6'4", 6'5" to play quarterback is pretty much gone, especially at the college level. And Pop Houston certainly is not that, but it sounds like he turned some heads. Was number 3 in the Elite 11 rankings, according to the folks over at Rivals. That's a very, very good thing for him. An awesome job by Pop Houston. So appreciate Charles for giving us a little bit of time here on this Monday. Another Tiger just jumped into the transfer portal. That's 3 of them that I know of. I'll go back and make sure my list is comprehensive during the commercial break, and we'll talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. It doesn't have to be a huge project when you talk about a bathroom renovation or remodel. They can do a huge project if you've got one, but maybe it's something simple. Say you don't ever use your tub. You don't take baths. Say your tub is old, it's dingy, it doesn't function properly. How much room is that taking up in your bathroom? Like a significant amount, right? Take it out and make that space into a shower. David Duvall and his team do this all the time. I asked David last time we sat down and said, hey, how long does it take to do a tub to shower conversion? He goes, usually 3 to 5 days. Now, obviously, the course and scope of work can be different depending on what you're looking for out of that shower. But 3 to 5 days, in and out. You're looking for financing options, they've got them. 0% up to 18 months if you qualify. So get rid of that ugly, malfunctioning, dingy tub, or the one you just don't use, and put in a shower to transform your bathroom. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
About our friends over at Guarantee Health Solutions. Rachel Fricke started this project, Guarantee Health Solutions, based on a personal experience. Her mother was diagnosed with cancer in 2009, and Rachel was there every step of the way as her mom got treatment, and she noticed how impersonal that the process was, how unpleasant at times the healthcare system could be to the patients. And Rachel has a background in the hotel space and hospitality. It was like, I can take some hospitality things and make this better. And so that's what she's done with Guarantee Health Solutions. If you're in the healthcare space, whether you are with a hospital or an urgent care or a private clinic, or whatever the case may be, how often do you think about patient experience? Whether that's digitally online, whether that's when you walk in to the facility, to the front desk, whether that's as your patient journey continues. Once you leave after that appointment, how do you know to come back? Are you contacted when it's that time? All of these processes can be put in place by our friends at Guarantee Health Solutions. That's what they do. They help healthcare systems better serve the patients to make that experience better. They can handle your marketing. They can handle your SEO. They can handle locations. They can deal with your website, making it functional, making it user-friendly. They can train your staff to help the patient journey. All that is what they're here to do at Guarantee Health Solutions. They're moving healthcare forward. You can find them online at guaranteehealth.com. It's guaranteehealth.com. final from Tallahassee, Florida. Florida State goes down. St. John's moving on. They will advance to the super regional round. I'm looking at these teams trying to make sure that these good non-SEC teams are hanging around. Now, they tell me St. John's is really good. We'll see. But they certainly did enough to win Game 7 in Tallahassee. It's over for the Noles. St. John's is moving on. I don't have a bracket in front of me, so I don't remember who it is that St. John's plays in the super regional round. But that game is done. So now we move on to Atlanta, where Georgia Tech is on the ropes. Now, this Georgia Tech team I know is good. And this Oklahoma team I know is not good. So I need Georgia Tech to win badly because Oklahoma was flat out mediocre all flipping season. And I know their pitching's not very good. And I know their offense is iffy. And I just need Georgia Tech to show up and play one ball game. One ball game. If they can do that, they'll move on to the super regional round. They're absolutely a national championship threat. They've got probably 3 first-round offensive players on that team. And now Georgia Tech's kicking a ground ball at shortstop in the first inning, so I don't love that. I love Georgia Tech's uniforms. They look great today. Got the blue tops on, got the white bottoms. They're looking good. Oklahoma looks great, got the pins on. It's a great uniform matchup, but I need Georgia Tech to get this one done this afternoon in Atlanta. So we'll keep you up to date on that over the course of the next 40 minutes until we hand things off to Matt. 5 games, 5 Game 7s today in the college baseball tournament. That's just incredible stuff. Let's talk about LSU. The transfer portal opened at midnight, right? So today is not a day where you go, oh, the portal's open? Like, who do we get? That's not how this works. On the LSU side of things, right now, today, this is about contacting portal entrants via social media, getting a hold of agents, and having phone calls. Phone call, set visits. LSU wants guys on planes, on campus this week, this weekend. That's what LSU wants. And so you're not going to get, I mean, I wouldn't fall on the floor if LSU got a commitment today, but I'd be surprised. That's like 3, 4, 5 days away. And then you got 2 weeks after that to really get these guys in. Right now it's about establishing contact and getting guys in on the addition side. It's also about the subtraction side, right? And you've seen some of that from LSU. We talked about last week, Maverick Rizzi jumped in the transfer portal. It's not surprising. The upside with Rizzi is obvious. He's 6'9". He throws 97. The slider is actually good. But this is hyperbole, hand up hyperbole. He got the yips this year. It wasn't that bad. Like, a golfer with the yips can't get in the hole. They have to turn around and putt left-handed. It wasn't as bad, but at times it looked like it because his misses were so bad, so often. Hit batsmen, ridiculous wild pitches, falling behind 3-0, time and time again. I've been asked, was this a thing where they told him to leave, or is this a thing where he wanted to change the scenery? I have no idea. And either one makes sense. He just lost his release point. And that's tough for a guy who's 6'9". That's unfolding a big lawn chair to get that established, right? So it's a situation where it might be better for both sides. We'll see. Oklahoma homers, which makes me want to throw up. Error and a homer. That's why you got to play defense, folks. But back to LSU, like, Rizzi is a guy that is going to land at a pretty high-profile program, I'm sure, because the measurables are outstanding. And it wouldn't stun me if he has a good year next year, but he just did not this past year. Couple more entrants today. Daniel Harden entered. There is a lot of playing time to be had in the LSU outfield. Chris Stanfield's gone. We certainly believe Derek Curiel and Jake Brown will move on as well. So that means that the entire opening day outfield is gone. So there's playing time to be had. But obviously Daniel Harden wants to look elsewhere. He played 2 years at junior college, former Catholic High Bear. Now he'll move on to another place, and that's not overly surprising as well. William Patrick is a favorite at this point because there's no outfielders left on the roster to be in the outfield next year, but LSU will certainly go shopping in the portal to go get some guys in the outfield. And Harden appears will not be part of that case. Trent Caraway is also in the transfer portal. That one just didn't work. I don't feel like my assertion of what Trent Caraway was off when LSU got him. You saw the numbers from last year at Oregon State, and they weren't very good. But he got blistering hot in the regional. Y'all know the stat by now. He hit 5 home runs in 1 regional. But he was a starting third baseman on a legitimate Omaha team in Oregon State last year. Like, they were not a smoke and mirrors team. They were really, really good. And he was a starting third baseman there. And I told you the week of opening day, I was like, they're working on some things with Caraway. they like him on defense. He's done a pretty good job in the fall. They're going to hit him like 8th and take some pressure off of him and see if he comes around. And they did. He was in the 8 hole on opening day. And it just never really came around. He homered at Lafayette, but he struggled to hit the ball the other way. He struggled to make consistent contact. He had one at bat, and I don't even know who LSU was playing. It might have been Ole Miss. I can't remember. I wasn't at the game. I was watching on TV. And he came up with a runner on third in less than 2 outs, and he swung at 3 breaking balls and missed him by 2 feet. And they just didn't get what they wanted out of him. Caraway was a superstar coming out of high school. He's the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in California. He was a guy that everybody wanted out of high school. He went to Oregon State. He played a lot for 2 years, and he wanted to change the scenery. And he just was never a great average hitter in college, and he didn't earn time here at LSU. And he's going to move on to play his final season somewhere else. So he moves on. Not surprising there either. Jaden Newt just announced via social media that he will not be back. That's not surprising. Jaden Newt and DJ Primo, both guys who have another year left, but that both participated in senior day festivities, which tells me they're probably looking elsewhere. Jay Johnson was asked about those guys participating in senior day after it happened after that game against who was the last home series against Florida. And he was asked, like, what's the deal with the redshirt juniors on senior day? He said it was a personal preference. I asked who wants to do it, and they said they did. Those are guys that have been in college for 4 years, so it's not like they couldn't have graduated or want to feel like they're seniors and moving on. But Newt is going to enter the transfer portal as well, and I don't think that'll be it. I think there'll be some other guys. It would not surprise me if you saw another position player on the infield jump into the transfer portal, quite frankly, and I don't think it's Jack Ruckert. But that hadn't happened yet. Today is a day where you're gonna trim the limbs a little bit, and then you're gonna assess things from the outside, and you're gonna have a lot of roster space open. And I think there has not been an announcement that's been made where I go, that hurts. That I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way. I just look at it and I go, this all kind of makes sense. They were deficient in a lot of areas. They didn't play good infield defense. Okay. They didn't hit the ball the other way. Okay. Their bullpen couldn't throw strikes. Okay. I mean, you just haven't lost any of your guys. When you look at the core returning for next year, you're looking at Cerna, Aaron Beatty, Braun, Patrick, Ruckert. You're looking at Schmidt, Evans, and then Paz, Ricken, and then potentially Garcia, Plog. And I wrote up over the weekend on LouisianaSports.net the first summer league assignments that I saw, and I'm really excited that Reagan Ricken is going to Cape Cod. I'm curious to see how he handles himself against the best talent in summer baseball. Very excited about that. Ethan Plog is going to go to Cape Cod as well, which is a good thing. I think that indicates he's anticipating coming back to LSU, which I think that's good. I think a lot of Ethan Plog because I think a lot of the role that he can fill. I think he can be a guy who gets left-handed hitters out. It's funky. It's 94, 95. It's a plus breaking ball. He didn't throw enough strikes in junior college in Council Bluffs, Iowa. He didn't throw enough strikes this past year. But I'm not asking him to be a starter. I'm not asking him for 6 innings. I'm not asking for long relief 5 innings. I'm asking him for 2 outs. And I think he's got a profile that fits that. So I think that's good. I'm excited about Ricken. And then William Patrick and Jack Ruckert are going to go out to this league that I never heard of, actually, is in Northern California and Oregon. And they're going to play up there in this team stationed out of Northern California. And they'll get a lot of at-bats, and they need a lot of at-bats. William Patrick needs a lot of at-bats, and Jack Ruckert needs a lot of at-bats. Ruckert needs to play second and shortstop, which he will. Patrick will play different outfield positions. So excited about those guys, too. There are still more summer assignments that are coming. LSU is going to weigh kind of what they want to do from a development perspective, from a rest perspective, from a rehab perspective, from skills perspective. And some guys don't need to play games. Some guys need to practice, and they'll do that as well. William Schmidt did that last year. So that's the look right now. You're looking at Maverick Rizzi. You're looking at Jaden Newt. You're looking at Trent Caraway. You're looking at Daniel Harden. That's the guys in the portal right now. There will be more. You're not done getting guys in the transfer portal at this point. We'll keep you posted as anything happens here on Monday and as we move throughout the week. That's going to be kind of the heaviest part of our content this week is looking at guys that LSU is losing and potential guys LSU could nab. And if you're looking for guys LSU could nab, I'm going to give you a list here coming up as Oklahoma adds another run. This is not good. I'm going to give you a list of guys coming up that I do not know that LSU's contacted. I do not know if LSU is interested. But I like the profile of some of the guys I've gotten in the portal. And as I was looking through the internet earlier today, I was looking at the amount of talent that I think is going into that transfer portal. Made me feel pretty good. I think LSU's going to have some real options in the portal. I'll go through a couple when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. It's First American Bank and Trust. Started up in 1910, 116 years later. They are still cooking. 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. There's always one near you. Metairie, got you covered. Dutchtown, got you covered. Tangipahoa, St. Tammany parishes, got you covered. Down the bayou, St. John's, Lafourche, yep, First American Bank and Trust. Do business with the local bank. Why? Because there's a local person in your community making decisions on your commercial loan, making decisions on your personal loan. Would you rather that or somebody in Atlanta, somebody in Chicago, somebody on Wall Street? How about right here in Southeast Louisiana, making decisions about our community and your money? It's First American Bank and Trust. Find them online at FABT.com or go to one of their 25 locations today. It's First American Bank and Trust.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Ochsner wants to remind you, whether you're an athlete or just trying to stay active, Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help you get moving and keep you moving. You got access to the highest level of specialized care, nationally renowned expertise, the latest equipment, modern facilities, including a convenient walk-in orthopedic clinic at the Elite Training Complex on Burbank. If you need care fast, you know where to go. From the field to recovery, Ochsner Andrews Institute is there to help move your healing forward and get back to what you love. You can learn more at ochsner.org/brortho. If you've got sprains, strains, minor dislocations, a sports injury, including an ACL tear, sudden or ongoing non-spine-related musculoskeletal pain, no appointment needed. Walk in today to Elite on Burbank. That's our friends at Ochsner. All right, I put a list out today of players LSU could consider targeting in the transfer portal. I want to be very clear. As I said in the last segment, we are not at the point where guys are visiting, where significant interest and commitments are flying around. Players are getting in the portal. They're fielding phone calls. We've heard guys who have committed to LSU. Seth Dardar's one from last year, where he jumped in the portal last year at Kansas State and just kind of waited for Jay Johnson potentially to call. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. And he got the call. Today is the day you might get a phone call, but that would precipitate a visit, and then potentially you take another visit and you weigh NIL options. Like, we are in the infancy of this portal period. And so when I give you this list, this is not like, oh, LSU's locked in on this guy, or this is the guy they're targeting, or oh, he's on a visit, or he could commit this afternoon, or none of that stuff. But I am looking at LSU's roster, and I'm understanding what Jay Johnson said this year and what he's looking for out of the transfer portal, not from the homegrown talent. And I'm just taking a look at some guys that could make some sense. They might get 2 of these guys. They might get 3 of these guys. They might not get one of these guys to a visit because they got no interest. This is purely Hunt's opinion of some guys that I think make some sense. The first one is Jamie Leskovsky. Jamie Leskovsky. He is a shortstop from William & Mary. And before you go, oh my God, we just did the small school thing, don't do that again. Calm down. Jamie Leskovsky is a potential first or second round pick in next summer's draft from William & Mary. He is thought of as a top potentially 40 player in the college ranks in his class. He's a shortstop, and he had a great season. He was the Colonial Athletic Association Player of the Year. He hit .355, 13 homers, 12 doubles, and here's a number I'm paying attention to, 36 steals. What I know about Leskovsky is that he runs really well and he defends really well. Yeah, he hit .355. Yeah, he hit 13 homers, but we just saw that song and dance with some other guys. He plays defense and he runs, okay? These are the attributes that Jay Johnson is looking for, along with offensive aptitude in this portal class. Leskovsky is not a threat as a small school bust. He's a really projectable, future, highly paid draft pick that would make a ton of sense. You might go, well, what if Milam comes back? He can get a shortstop. Hold on. I got that on Twitter. they're going to go after infielders. You're looking right now at an infield that's got John Pearson, Jack Ruckert, and Mason Braun. Like, you need glove guys. Ruckert's going to compete, yes. And if Milam comes back, he's the shortstop, yes. But there's a chance Milam's not back, and there's a chance that Ruckert is a guy that needs to be in a competition, not just handed a spot. And Leskowski is your heir apparent at shortstop if Milam moves on. And if Milam doesn't move on, he's your third baseman or your second baseman. And then you've got one of the best infields in the country offensively and defensively with Milam and Leskowski. This guy makes a ton of sense. I love him. I'm already all in on him. I don't know where he would like to go. I don't know if he's got a non-contact on. He was the CAA Player of the Year, and I think he's a stud. So I'm all in on him. There's another shortstop that jumped in that piqued my interest because he's a really good defender. Weston Boyle. Now, his fielding percentage is only 958, not 5. 958, which is okay. But he just finished his freshman year at Purdue. He started 57 games. He made 11 errors, but he's a 6'3" middle infielder. And he comes from Overland Park, Kansas, same high school as Ashton Larson, St. Thomas Aquinas. And as a freshman at Purdue, he hit 285, 15 doubles, a couple of homers. This is a couple notches below Leskowski, but it's a guy with a big frame who was really good in the defensive run saves metric, who did hit a little bit as a freshman, who has a ton of experience now with 57 games. And I think LSU needs infield help. So I like Weston Boyle as well. Those are the two shortstops I saw. Now we'll get into two big-time bats, two of the biggest bats in the portal. Bino Waters from Notre Dame is left-handed. He was first-team All-ACC in 26. In 25, he was All-Freshman ACC. This past year, his sophomore year, 362 with 10 homers. His OPS was 1062. From the left side, that's swinging the lumber. He was a designated hitter a lot. He played some left field. He played left field against LSU in Jacksonville. But he's going to be a prize commodity, left-handed hitting, outfielder DH from Notre Dame. Now, this doesn't fit the profile of the athlete. This fits the profile of the bat. But I don't think Jay Johnson's quitting on portal bats. There have been some good portal bats LSU's brought in. So, Bino Waters, big name, would love to see him at LSU. Here's one that doesn't fit the profile at all of what Jay Johnson was talking about, but he did have a monster year. Jackson Hotchkiss at Washington hit a ton. 339, 20 home runs for Washington. He is a slugger. Strikeout numbers were high. He struck out 57 times in 45 games. This year on LSU's team, and it's only 45 games, keep in mind. Only Cade Arambidi struck out more times for LSU than Hotchkiss did for Washington. But his OPS was 1138. Huge number. The Big Ten's a bad league, but you're talking about a guy who, against the best teams they faced, Oregon, USC, and UCLA, who were regional teams, two hosts there, good teams. In those three series, he had 11 hits, including 5 home runs. So he did hit some of the better teams they saw, even though the schedule was soft. Hotchkiss is a bigger guy. He's a slugger. He plays outfield, but he's not an elite outfielder. But that's a big bat that you could go get to play some left field if you feel like that's a guy that fits the bill. Those are your offensive and defensive players. I like Leskowski is the number one offensive guy in the portal right now for me because of what he can do and what position he plays at shortstop. Weston Boyle, I like him. I think he's got an interesting profile. Bino Waters in the outfield, left-handed hitter from Notre Dame. Hotchkiss, a right-handed hitting outfielder from Wisconsin. Big bat, big power. Then you got a pitcher that's an interesting case because Brody Trosclair is from Thibodeau, and he went to Northwestern State, and he just finished his freshman year. And you go, well, that's not super exciting. And to add insult to that, he had elbow surgery that ended his season in April. Now, I don't know what the surgery was. I never read Tommy John. Not sure, but he's in the portal. He was a Southland Freshman of the Year. He only made 10 appearances. 4 of them were starts. His ERA was 1.89. He struck out 55 in 38 innings, which I love, but I also love this even more. 11 walks in 38 innings. He didn't face any high major competition. No SEC, no Big 12, no ACC at Northwestern State. But he throws strikes. He's left-handed. He spins the heck out of the ball. And he might be cheap if he's from home of Thibodeau and wants to play for LSU. I don't know what his status is for next baseball season. For all I know, he's ready to pitch in 2 weeks. For all I know, he's out for next year. I couldn't find any injury information from Northwestern State or on Twitter from the scouts. So I like the profile as a left-handed reliever who throws a lot of strikes and misses a lot of bats, but I don't know enough. He's undersized, but I like him. He had a monster year at Northwestern State. I think that's a guy that could make some sense for LSU. So those are my guys. 2 shortstops, 2 outfielders, and a left-handed pitcher. There are tons more guys flying in the portal. Conference players of the year, guys out of the Big 12, guys that are draft prospects. There's a lot. I'm trying to drink out of the fire hose, and candidly, for the last hour and 45 minutes, I've been doing a radio show right here, so I haven't been able to stay kind of on top of that. But I will, and we're going to write about it at LouisianaSports.net. I'm going to talk about it here. There are a lot of really talented players in the portal, and Jay Johnson is going to be aggressive. You know that. Question is, what's he able to land? And I think they need an infielder with some defensive and athletic ability that can steal bases. I think they need an outfielder that is incredible with the bat to the ball, that can hit 320 in SEC play. And power never hurts. And I think they need pitching. I think they need starting pitching. That I haven't seen as much of. You're talking about guys who just got off a regional fielder, most likely. But I'd love LSU to add a power arm into the rotation. We'll see if that's a possibility. If he's left-handed, all the better. But those are generally hard to come by. Liam Doyle doesn't pop through that door every single day. So we'll see. You want to read more about it, you can at LouisianaSports.net. I've got that up for free. Top of the second from Atlanta, Oklahoma 3, Georgia Tech 0. I do not like that score at all. I'm going to watch during the break. We'll come back. We'll wrap the show up. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. I'll get you some new deals tomorrow. They were told that those new deals are going to come out from the powers that be at Chevrolet tomorrow. But what I can tell you for sure is that if you go to FabryChevrolet.com, you can see the entire inventory at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you're looking for Chevy Silverados, they got them. GMC Sierras, they got them. Your trucks are covered. Chevy Suburbans, Chevy Tahoes, they got them. Yukons, Denali's on the GMC side, they got them. And if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they got that. You're looking for a new vehicle, they've got that. And the customer service is going to be awesome. The service after the sale never disappoints with the Fabry family. That's why they've been in business for 35 years here in Baton Rouge. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can check out the inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding health care forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. They're online at GuaranteeHealth.com. That's GuaranteeHealth.com. Been a fun show today. Opened talking about Ed Ogeron making his triumphant return in purple and gold to the recruiting front. I did not expect to see that all weekend long, and certainly did. I also mentioned how much fun I had watching college baseball this past weekend. I don't know if every LSU fan was in my boat, but I think there are some of you that were. I understand those of you that weren't, if you wanted to avoid it or get away after LSU had such a dismal season. But with nothing on the line for me and watching those guys play all weekend long, I just had a ball. And guess what? On Friday and on Saturday and Sunday, when it got late and I was like, I don't really want to stay up for this, I just didn't. I woke up in the middle of the night and rolled over and checked a score or two, and then went back to bed. Like it was an enjoyable 3 days watching college baseball, and I'm planning on watching some this evening as well. If you missed it, St. John's has eliminated Florida State from the Tallahassee Regional. They will move on to the Supers as the 4 seed in that Tallahassee Regional. And right now, Oklahoma, the 2 seed over in Tallahassee, is up on the home team the 2 seed in Atlanta is up on the home team. Georgia Tech 3-0. The Sooners lead, but I expect a lot of runs in that ball. I think it's going to take 10 to win this game in Atlanta. I want to remind you every single day that our app, the 104.5 ESPN app, is powered by Bayou Automotive Group. You can check them out online at BayouAutomotive.com, BayouAutomotive.com. You can stream us wherever you are, whatever time it may be, on our 104.5 ESPN app, and we appreciate you all that do it. But right now, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so the New York Giants have been very busy today as they've added 3 veteran receivers to help the team out. So the team is signing Juju Smith-Schuster after a workout today. Well, they signed all 3 guys that worked out today, Odell Beckham Jr. and Braxton Berrios. So Odell's making his homecoming back with the Giants, but the more important question, signing 3 veteran receivers. So are the Giants worried about Malik Neighbors' knee? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I'm sure they're worried about it. He's their best receiver, and he's been hurt. So, yeah, I would imagine they are very concerned about it. But I don't know that Odell is the answer. That's a guy. I wrote the story for LouisianaSports.net. He's got 44 catches over the last 4 seasons combined. You're talking about missing all last season after the suspension for PEDs. You're talking about 2 years ago, he missed the entire season as well. So
Ravens year,
it's been not a lot going on for Odell, and I don't think he'll be a huge factor on this team. But hey, guy going back home where it all happened. It's been 8 years since they traded him. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Nah, oh my goodness, 8 years. Yeah, it's about
He came in the league in 2014.
2014. Yeah, because that was Jeremy Hill, Jarvis, and Andrew. Yeah, man, I'm getting old. Goodness gracious. All right, the Browns are finalizing a trade. Well, it's already finalized to send 2-time Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for Myles Garrett. The Rams are expected to send Pro Bowl edge rusher Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, and other draft compensation that will come out later. So are the Rams now Super Bowl favorites? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Why not?
I'll take it.
I mean, that's not real comfortable. I saw a tweet about the interior pass rush ability of the Rams and their pass rush win rate on the interior, and you put Garrett on the outside. That's a problem. Problem for the offensive line coaches trying to deal with what they're going to do. There's a problem for opposing quarterbacks, what they're going to do there.
Most definitely.
The Rams do not give a rip about draft picks. They do not care. They don't care. They want to get good players. They go get good players. We need to get Jalen Ramsey. We get Jalen Ramsey. We need Myles Garrett. We get Myles Garrett. That's just what they do. And I agree with it. Well, you got a quarterback on your last leg.
Last legs.
Go do it. And guess what? When Stafford's gone and Garrett gets a little bit older and your salary cap situation stinks, they probably won't be that good for a couple of years.
They
got a great organization. They draft really well. And it's time to go win the Super Bowl. So they're going to try to win the Super Bowl. And Myles Garrett is a good piece to add. And you think he's not happy going from Cleveland to the Rams, LA?
Smiling.
That's a good day. Good day to be Myles Garrett.
And Hunt, to add on to that, we can't forget what they did this year when they got Trent McDuffie before the draft. So you added Trent McDuffie, an all-pro cornerback, to that mix with a Myles Garrett and Byron Young and all. It's just, this is a super team if I've never seen one before. And honestly, I'm willing to put that pressure on the Rams. If you don't get it done this year, then sayonara.
Stafford's old.
Yeah, I'm about to say sayonara.
They're building around Ty Simpson.
God bless him too. God bless him, because you better produce. So, quarterback Russell Wilson is finalizing a deal to become a CBS Sports analyst. Wilson, who had an offer to be the New York Jets' backup quarterback, but instead he decided to join the CBS Sports crew with James Brown, Nate Burleson, and Bill Cowher. So, will Russell Wilson thrive on TV? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I think he's got a great command of the game.
Yeah.
He's got a great camera presence in terms of being eloquent. He's a goofball.
It's kind of corny.
So you got to probably coach a little bit of that out.
A little bit.
But that's what the guys on set are for.
Yeah.
You got to give him a little bit of a hard time. You got to loosen him up to make sure that he's not overly rigid. Because the worst thing you can be is get up there and be a robot. And Brady was like that early on because he didn't know what he was doing. And he's gotten a little bit better with that, even though Brady's not the most affable guy around. I think Wilson's got a chance. I would definitely take it. I would take that chance they're taking, but he may need a little coaching.
No, most definitely. I think it will be I think quarterbacks is a little bit of a smoother transition. Like you said, Brady, it took him a little minute. And these quarterbacks, they're so hyper-competitive that he's going to try and get better. Like Brady, I was mad when they got rid of Greg Olsen to replace him with Brady. Yeah. And then, like I said, Brady improved this year. So we'll see how it plays out. I think it's going to take a little minute to warm up. But that's it for it. Take it or leave it.
That's it for take it or leave it. Georgia Tech gets the leadoff man on there in the top of the second or third. No chance I can see that inning.
Man.
But I think it's the second. But they're – oh, no, it's – yeah, I got it.
Third. It's the third.
I'm not going to be able to see that. We've established this.
I know.
And they immediately grounded double play. So, look, my rooting interest is for the SEC to lose. I don't really care that much about Oklahoma, but I'm not – Georgia Tech, I wasn't thinking about them eliminating Oklahoma. I'm thinking about them eliminating somebody in Omaha when they get there. This is one of the most prolific offenses in college baseball. They're going to score more than 3 runs. I just like it to happen a little bit more quickly. You know how tight things can get when that season can come closing down on you, especially on your home ballpark. So we'll see if Georgia Tech can respond. Their helmets are kind of ugly, a little bit too gold for my liking at this point. Love the blue tops, not loving the helmets. That's it for us. Missed any of the show today? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt on LSU for your LSU football takes. We had 2 segments on LSU football, including some Elite 11 talk about Peyton Houston and some Saints talk earlier on OTAs. Hunt on Saints. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow. It's Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. Look, storm season is here. It's officially started on June 1st. If you feel like your roof may be aging a little bit, thinking, I don't know if it's time to buy a new roof, but I'm a little concerned with the health and the status of my roof, well, get a tune-up. You can fortify that roof in time for storm season so that you can have a little bit more peace of mind knowing that your biggest investment for most of us, your house is protected, and certainly the folks under that roof are protected as well. If the folks at Lifetime Roofing go up and do that inspection and think you may need a new roof, they'll tell you about it, but maybe it's just a fortification. In any event, you can get a lifetime workmanship warranty on their work and their materials. They're backed by Certainteed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. Trust the local company from here in Baton Rouge, built up by those from Baton Rouge, LSU grads. It's Lifetime Roofing. They're online at lifetimeroofingla.com.